Hey guys, so welcome back to my video, and in this video I am going to talk about psycholinguistics, and there is gonna be 3 parts. So first I'm going to explain psycholinguistic, and then second I'm gonna give real life example of each topic, and then the last one is I am going to presentate a PowerPoint so you can get a clear understanding and you can get the visualize of the materials. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first is psycholinguistics. So what is it? So it is the study how human mind processes or understand and produces language. It combines psychology and linguistic to explore how people learn, store, and use language in their brains, including how we think in words, speak, and comprehend others. Next, we have language acquisition. So, language acquisition is the process by which people learn a language, especially how children naturally pick up their first language without formal teaching. It involves stages like babbling, first words, and full sentences. And it is influenced by exposure to language in the environment. And theories like from Noam Chomsky suggest an innate ability to learn grammar. Next, we have mental lexicon. So it is like a dictionary in your brain that stores all the words you know, including their meanings, pronunciations, and how they connect to other words. And it helps you quickly recall words when speaking or reading, and grows as you learn new vocabularies throughout life. Next, we have language processing. So, language processing refers to how the brain handles languages, tasks such as understanding spoken or written words, storing information, and generating responses. It involves mental steps like recognizing sounds, phrasing sentences, and retrieving meanings, often studied through experiments or on reaction times or brain imaging. And next we have speech production. Speech production is the process of creating and speaking language, starting from throughout the brain, selecting words, planning sentences, and using muscles in the mouth, throat, and lungs to make sounds. It includes stages like phonological planning or choosing sound, and then articulation, forming words, and can be affected by factors like stress or brain injuries. So next we have speech perception. It is how we hear and understand words, the spoken language, involving the ability brains to recognize sounds, words, and meaning from audio input. And it deals with challenges like noisy environments or accent. And it relieves the brain quickly. Processing acoustic signals into linguistic information. And we have comprehension. So, comprehension is the ability to understand language, whether spoken, written, or signed. It involves decoding words grasping grammar, and interpreting meaning in context, such as following a story or conversation. In psycholinguistics, it is studied to see how it builds the brains from part of language. And then we have production. So it refers to the act of creating language output, like speaking, writing, or signing. It includes generating ideas, organizing them into words, sentence, and expressing them. Okay, so I am going to give the real life example of psycholinguistic. So the real life example is when a person has a stroke and loses the ability to speak clearly. Psycholinguistics studies brain scan to understand how language areas are damaged, helping doctors develop therapies to build communication skills. And then we have the real life example of language acquisition. So the real life example is when a baby growing up in a bilingual home, like ones where parents speak English and Spanish, naturally learns both languages. And by age 3, without formal lessons, showing how exposures help the children pick up grammar and vocabulary. And then next we have mental lexicon. So the real life example is during a game of Scrabble, you quickly think of words starting with Q, like queen or quick, pulling from your mental dictionary stored in your brain, which grows with reading and experiences. And then we have language processing. So the real life example is when you read a text message while walking, your brain processes the words, predicts the next ones, and understands a joke even if it's typed fast with the abbreviations, and it's demonstrating how we handle language on the go. And then the speech production. So the real life example is when you give a presentation, you plan your words in your mind, then uses your vocal cords and mouth to speak clearly. But if nervous, you might stumble on sounds like saying th instead of as and think. And then we have speech perception. So, for example, in a noisy restaurant, you can still understand your friend's conversation by focusing on their voice and filling in the gaps, even if the background music drowns out some words. Next, we have comprehension. So, comprehension is for example, while you're watching a movie in a foreign language with subtitles, you grasp the plot by combining visual cues, context, and partial understanding of words, even if you don't know every term. And then we have production. The real life example is when you write an email to your boss, you choose a formal word and structure sentences carefully to sound professional. And unlike texting a friend with shortcuts and emojis. So, guys, that is for the example in real life. Next, let's move on to the slides. Okay, guys, so this is a slide. We have definition and then we have key concept, and then examples, and the key figures and theories. So we have the famous Noam Chomsky. Okay, Jeffrey Elman, and the application, and of course the conclusion. I think that's all, guys. Thank you.